Okay, well, welcome to our fifth of 9 episodes where we have some great educators through Vermont and New Hampshire sharing what they're doing. We decided to make this very local series with the great educators of Vermont and New Hampshire sharing with one another the things that they're doing. These ecosystems across the country are a little different, and Vermont and New Hampshire is like that. They have some nuances that probably make sense to all of you that are joining. Really, really, really thankful for Deborah from the Slate Valley school system, and Kalo, a student from the Slate Valley school system, who was sitting there in his car having spent the morning on Killington, or the day in Killington. So appreciate that, Kalo, very much. I'm going to hand it off. I guess I just want to say one other thing. This is part of our effort at Northeastern to sort of create opportunities for educators to learn with and from one another. We have a program called Next, or a network called Next, where we do this not regionally as well as nationally, as well as across the world, right? I'll put a link to that in the chat a little later. And very thankful to have reached out to many of our alum, which includes Dr. O'Mara, I guess I should call him, that have graduated from our program that live up there in Vermont and New Hampshire, amongst many others. But enough of that. Let's go to the presenters, and let's hear what's going on at Slate Valley. So take it away, Deborah. I'm going to make it co-host too, and
Okay.
Casey too, in case something goes wrong with my feed. Okay.
Okay.
Take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Unger. So I'd like to welcome everyone to this session. I am a high school librarian at Fairhaven Union High School in Fairhaven, Vermont. I have a Master of Education in Curriculum and Instruction with a school licensure, library licensure in the states of New York and Vermont. I'd like to thank Dr. Casey O'Mara, our school curriculum director, for creating amazing professional development opportunities for our school district. Casey worked with professors at Northeastern to create amazing, amazing professional development opportunities for us. I, along with others in my school district, have been taking experiential teaching and learning classes with Dr. Kelly Kahn over the past few years. Through the courses, I've been able to create a number of professional development learning materials for my colleagues, and have also created a course called REAL, which stands for Relevant, Equitable, Active Learning Linked to Life. As a school librarian, I teach students about the inquiry process and teach all critical thinking skills associated with that learning process. The REAL class is student-centered, personalized learning that is built upon the inquiry process and embedded with information literacy skill instruction. It calls on students to reflect deeply upon who they are, what they are interested in, and ask students to personally connect with their local, state, or global community. Once they determine what their specific interests are, they must connect with an expert in the field and determine how exactly they will impact their community with the new knowledge they have gained throughout their quarter-long inquiry into their particular topic of interest or the issue they've chosen. I've created a Padlet that is a host to several resources related to experiential learning, and most importantly, we have Kalo here with us, who, as Dr. Unger previously mentioned, has taken time out. He is in his car. He was snowboarding today. So we really would like to give a big hand to Kalo. Thank you, Kalo, for participating. Let's see. So Kalo is going to talk about his learning a little bit later. And it is a snow day today for us. So he's actually taking time out on a snow day. So thank you, Kalo. All right. So I am going to share my screen. So I'm going to have to, 1 second. All right. Can everybody see the Padlet that I have right here? Yes. Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, so I have included a link to the Padlet in the chat. It's in there a couple times, so you should be able to find it. And the great thing about using a Padlet is that it's very interactive. So as we go through the session, you will actively be able to participate with the Padlet and the information I'm presenting. Okay, I just want to give you a few tips too. The Padlet, this is very dark, so there is a little bar here, a toggle bar along the longer, pieces of information here. So you can toggle the information up and down. So first off, I have a little poster here that I kind of show our students and to kind of get them thinking about topics they would like to participate in. So, so here are just a few. These are only a few that students have done, such as we had a student help our student homeless population within our school district. She held a drive, and we'll show you that. Well, actually, we'll be looking at her her actual student notebook. I provided a sample in there that we'll be looking at. I had another student who actually helped animals in local animal shelters. She held a drive, and so that's indicated here. I have a really cool Slate project that I've had students start working on, but we need to finish the project, so that's here. They can do 3D printing, innovative hands-on things in the library. And of course, there are so many different things. If students don't have an idea of what they'd like to do, I do have them dig deep into one of our databases called Opposing Viewpoints. And in that database, there are, oh gosh, I don't know, a couple hundred different issues, topics that they can explore. And usually, well, always after they look in here, they find something that they want to research and get their, dig into. Okay, so then I've also attached different resources. This is an article. It was, I wrote it with Dr. Carol Gordon. She is a former school librarian and Rutgers School Library professor. So I have that information in there. It is with the School Library Association of Victoria in Australia. That's where it's published. And then I have my template of the notebook that I make a copy of for my students. And they actually use that notebook, their student notebook, to do all their work in. So I have my template here. And then I have different resources that I actually created with Dr. Kelly Kahn's courses. So one of them is how will you get to know and understand your students in order to create an experiential learning opportunity for them. This is how will you develop a plan for engaging stakeholders by understanding their perspectives and roles in the community to bring them into the process of enacting experiential learning. And this tells you a little bit about Next at Northeastern University. And these are just, these are articles about experiential learning that I found, and deeper learning, which of course is what the real class really, it creates deeper learning experiences for students. And then I have just a few more. Well, I'm a librarian, so I like a lot of resources all the time. So I always have a lot of resources. And then Dr. Casey O'Mara and we co-wrote this Portrait of a Graduate and the National School Library Standards. And then this is about social emotional learning. And our school is also referenced in this article about how social emotional learning transforms students and schools. And this is just kind of tells you what we do anyway. As school librarians, we have makerspaces and we create hands-on learning experiences for students anyway. So this whole student learning, student-centered learning, experiential learning fits really well into my realm as a school librarian. So yeah, so we'll start. This is the student work. So if you click on this student sample notebook, you'll be able to access the student's notebook with her answers. And this is not Kalos. This is another student, but she wasn't, unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it today. But what we're going to be looking at, what I'd like you to do is to participate in a scavenger hunt. And the kind of the criteria of the course is that we look at these things. We connect the students' personal background knowledge with a problem, challenge, or personal interest they have identified within our local community. It could be the state, it could be the global community as well, whatever the student would like. And then they define their desired learning outcome, and they need to identify what they're exactly going to do within the community. And then they need to conduct an inquiry-based investigation. That is the key component of experiential learning, deeper learning, is that inquiry. It has to be inquiry-based. So this is actually built upon the inquiry model developed by Dr. Barbara Stripling, who is a professor in New York at Syracuse University. And then we also connect with local community members to solve a problem or challenge and work directly with that community, local community member, or like I said, state or global member, community member, to learn more about the problem, challenge, or personal interest. And they need to reflect upon their learning. They share their learning and then reflect upon it. So we're looking for these 6 components here. And so what I'd like you to do is take a look at each one of these components. So if you're looking for number 1, then I'd like you to click here on, create a post, click and put number 1, and then note where you found it within the student sample, the sample student notebook, okay? So this is it. So the student sample notebook. So you'll be looking, for example, in these different modules. Each module represents one of those stages of the inquiry process, according to Barbara Stripling's inquiry process. So the first one is connect. Okay, so I click on that and I get to our first module. So connect is the first stage, as I just mentioned, of the inquiry process. So here it is right here. And yeah, so this is it. This is how students are connecting to them, to what, to the background knowledge that they have. They're connecting to self, to their previous background knowledge, and they're gaining background knowledge and content. So here I have them, I ask questions so they can kind of reflect upon who they are. And then I, show them various videos, and then we actually delve into that database that I showed you with all the issues, so that they can, kind of figure out what they're going to do. And I have the standards that I use, and which are the National Library School Library Standards. And here, this is the student samples, so you can see how they answered. Yeah, and here's the database I was talking about where they go into. Yeah, so this is module 1. This is connect. So that first stage of the inquiry process. So that's what you'll be doing. You'll be going whatever, stage, whichever, criteria here of the 6 you would like to address. Just go into that notebook, explore it. We'll give you about 10 minutes. And please add what you found or any comments underneath here, okay? Did I explain that well? Does anybody have any questions?
Just to clarify, so we're going to go into the Padlet.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to try to find examples of what you have under participant responses. So the numbered 1 through 6 items, we're
Yes.
trying to find in the student notebook that says real sample that your cursor is on right now.
Correct.
And when we find those different examples, we click the plus button.
Yeah. People could
right?
also refer to Kalo's. This is Kalo's poster. You could also look at Kayla's poster too, if you wanted, of course, and note anything you find there too. Okay.
And you want us
All
to come back at 3:30? It's 3:20?
It's 3:20. Yep. So we'll work until 3:30. I'm going to stay on. Anybody can stay on, and we'll watch the responses. You can do whatever you want. And I'll watch the responses as they come in on the Padlet. Yeah, I just want to point out too that there are attached assignments within the different modules. So you want to check those out too, like the why, how, and what that the students have to complete. Yeah, that's in module 3. So there are a lot of different assignments attached within the modules for the students to work on. Reflection, etc. Self-assessment, reflection. So this, for example, sorry, I keep interrupting. This, for example, is the students' final project self-assessment, and they literally do the self-assessment based upon the standard, the performance indicator, and the learning targets that support the performance indicator and the standard. And that's in module 6. Mm-hmm. Okay, so would anybody like to reflect upon or the student notebook or ask any questions?
So what, I went through it all, but I kind of wanted the skinny on what happened.
The skinny.
Yeah, like I saw that she was thinking about, finding food, seeing if she can find money.
Right.
She interacted with a teacher, Miss Rice or Mr. Rice or somebody, I thought the self-assessment was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted the story.
The story. Okay, so the story. Yes, the story is here. That is a good question. I briefly went. Let's see. That is in module 3. Investigate. Let's see. So they need to in investigate where they're trying to find information. I want them to. So they need to do this why, how, and what, which is the story, right? Tell their story. Okay.
Yeah.
And she did have a poster that she ended up doing. I'll show you that too. But what they need to do is they need to tell what their big idea is, why they're doing it. And then I'd like them to, they have to show 3 pieces of evidence, why is this important? Not just, oh, I heard it, I heard that it's important, but, I really want them to dig in and find real evidence of why this issue is really important so that they really know what they need to do to connect, to help with the issue. So in her inquiry, she found out that actually we have homelessness, within our school district. She connected with Miss Rice and Mrs. Benway. I think she's actually on the call here now, who actually work with the students within our district who are homeless. And so she found out a lot of information from them. They were her experts in the field for this project. And they provided a lot of extra information for her, so that she really knew why she really needed to do this. And yeah, so they have to have 3 pieces of information to kind of tell the story. And then they need to explain how they're going to help. And how will they know that they've had success, right? And exactly what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And this is what the expert in the field actually, what she actually gained from, her thoughts on her talks with the experts in the field. And then, of course, I teach them the information literacy skills. They still like to do the the links, but I'm trying to get them to do the actual citations. But anyway, this is the story. And then at the end, let's see, I've got to go back here. And then at the end, they'll be, they need to create, I teach them how to use different digital platforms to express their knowledge, they have to construct it and express what they've learned to others, right? They have to inform others about it. So what I did was, let's see, so I teach them different tools and they choose. And on the slide, here it is. On this slide, I have them show their actual project that they are going to put out to the world, okay? So this is what she put out to the world, actually. So she created this some more digital poster, and it gave a little bit of background information. She appealed to our local community, dear students, teachers, and families of the Slate Valley Unified School District. As of January 2020, Vermont had an estimated blah blah, and so forth and so forth. And then a lot of the projects, of course, the interests that students have connected with actually were affected by COVID. So so she mentioned, she talks about how many we have, how many students we have within our district who are homeless, and that her goal is to make 50 care packages. So she wanted a donation of the following items, right? And she put another picture there to get people thinking, okay, I'm going to buy food, for example. But she did have a specific list. And she ended up actually creating, I think it was 54 care packages in total that went out to local students within our school district. So they have to create some sort of digital final project. Another student this quarter actually created a song with an app, a music app. So they can choose whatever they'd like to express what they've learned and their plea to the local or global community of what exactly, are they informing them? How are they helping? How are they helping, etc. So yeah. Does that answer your question, Chris?
I think that, and when Kalo goes, he can kind of talk about the story too. So just looking at time, it's 3:37.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, not trying to be pushy, but just trying to.
Yeah. No, Kalo, you're on. So you explain your project, please.
Okay, so I focused my project on a type of farmers market called the Rico Ring. And the reason I did this was because my parents are local farmers and they actually created the Rico Ring in our area. And I just wanted to help them bring more local farmers in and just get the word out because COVID has affected most farmers markets around the state. And my mom ran the Pulteney one for a while, so they created the Rico Ring. And the Rico Ring is just a more convenient and easier way for farmers and locals around the area to get healthy food. It is through Facebook, and basically the farmer posts what they have for that week, and then the customer orders what they want, and the farmer only has to harvest that, so it's more efficient for both. And then you don't have to pay with cash or anything like that. It can be all digital, and that's safer with COVID. And they the Rico ring has grown a lot since the beginning of the summer. That there used to be like 3 vendors, and now there's almost 15. So it has quite expanded a lot, and my parents are trying to push it farther into the winter, even though it's getting pretty cold. And they plan on continuing this over the next few years because it's more efficient and easier for everyone. I want to try, the focus of my project was just to get the word out, and so I created the digital poster. I want it to be like pretty easy to read. It kind of catches the eye, and you can read through it, and it just explains everything. I made that, and my mom is helping me post it on different websites, and we're in the process of doing that right now.
That's great, Kalo, about how you're going to put it out. Your mom's going to help you put it out to the world, essentially, right? And especially to inform local farmers of the opportunity through Rico Ring, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Kalo?
Yeah. Go, Abby, you go.
I put it in the chat, but I'll just say it. I was watching the video and I noticed, I think it was in the video, that RICO is in capital letters, capital R-E-K-O. And I was wondering what it's an acronym for. Is it not? And it was just a fluke that it was that way.
It's a Swedish word that translates to convenient farming. I think that's what it is, or something like that. And they pronounce it Reco.
Oh.
We kind of adapted it.
And your family is part of the Poultney one, or your family has started one like in Fairhaven area?
My parents started the one in Poultney.
Okay. Neat.
Yeah, so my question, this is Chris. So there seems to be a lot of scaffolding that Deborah has put together, these different steps and stages and forms and things you have to fill out and all that kind of stuff. There's an open question. You could just say to a bunch of kids, go do something, or you could create all this scaffolding, or it could be in between. So Kalo, how much was that scaffolding, like the note taking and all that, how much did the scaffolding and Padlet and all that stuff, do you feel like it was helpful for you?
Well, with the class a day, it was kind of focused, I feel like, I don't know if this is right, but on choosing our own interest that we wanted to pursue. And I think that the notebook idea is really helpful because it's really easy to just find information and put it in, and you can put that right on your final project. And then Ms. Hansen had a bunch of good databases that we could search through and find the information that we needed or information that we wanted to add on. And it was very well set up for students, I think.
Thank you, Kalo.
What do you think, Kalo? What do you think, Kalo, if Miss Ehler-Hansen just said, hey, for the next 9 weeks, go find something you're interested in, and by the end of those 9 weeks, I need you to have something that's available and accessible digitally. How would that have compared, do you think, to the experience that you had with the amount of structure that was provided?
I think some students would just slack off and not really put a lot of effort into it. And then with the structuring, it kind of gives you a good set of guidelines on when it needs to be due, how you need to do it. And so the structure of the class is well set up. And I think it wouldn't run as well if it was kind of open-ended.
Cool.
What do
Another
you?
question.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Others?
No, you go.
Well, I don't want to. I already asked one, so I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in. I do have.
So did I.
I have a question. This is Miss Leith Kalo. Do you feel like there was a skill in particular that this project helped you get better at, or was there something that, a skill that you feel like you're going to take forward after having been in this class?
Um, I think one of the skills that grew from this class was just being able to read through a lot of information and pull out specific details that were needed for my project. Because I had to read through a lot of databases, a lot of websites I searched through, and I just had to find the most important information. And I think that's really helpful for students.
For sure. Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions for Kalo?
I'm gonna piggyback on that, Kalo. This kind of piggybacks exactly what was just asked, but I want to kind of dig into it a little bit more. Is sort of like, at first blush, people could look at your poster and say, "Whoa, this is great. This student learned a lot about these RICO or RECO rings, however you want to put it, right?" That's like, but kind of, I guess, the same question, but like, what are the other things besides what you just said? Like, are there 2 or 3 other things that you feel like you gained and is helpful to you beyond this class? Other than like teasing out information that was more important than just learning about RICO rings?
So do you mean like what ways of, I'm not sure where you're asking. Like,
well, like you learned a lot about RICO rings, but there's probably a lot of other. So when you think about yourself and your other fellow students, so let's put it this way. Let me rephrase it this way. So I'm going to make an assumption that you and your classmates really like being able to explore what you're interested and passionate about, and to do something about it, right? So I'm a school committee member, and I'm not saying this would happen in Slate Valley at all, but I'm a school committee member, and I say, this is really a waste of time. I mean, there are a lot of other things that kids could be learning, and they shouldn't be learning what they want to learn. How would you debate that or argue that with a parent or a school committee member?
I would say if a student is say forced into a class, they wouldn't put everything into it. And I went into this class not knowing really what it was, because I think it's new this year, right? It is.
Yeah.
And I think my other classmates found out that it was more enjoyable to do schoolwork, and at least me, I found it easier because I enjoyed learning about the information. I wanted to learn more about it, and I think overall, because we chose topics that were helpful to us, everybody just enjoyed doing it a lot more.
Just so everyone knows, Kalo said he had prepared something when I chatted with him yesterday. That was not part of the prepared statements, because we couldn't have predicted what Professor Unger was going to ask for a question when he had to ask it 3 ways. So, Kalo, kudos. Nice answer, bud.
Yeah. Are there other questions? Yeah. Somebody asked if it's an elective. Yes, it's an elective right now, right?
Yeah.
I was just going to say, how is it, how did you find yourself trying to select something to see the project through? Like, did you know, all right, this is something that I can work on? Or did you find yourself looking at, like when I looked at Cameron's notebook, she ended up on homelessness, but she had a lot of stuff there. So did you go in knowing that this is what you were going to focus on, or did you start broadly with a bunch of different topics? And then how did you end up where you ended up if you did have a bunch of different topics to start?
Well, I knew I wanted to do something with local and organic farming, and I focused on recovering because of my parents' involvement with it. And my mom was my expert in the field, and she had a lot of helpful information when she did a Zoom meet with the class. And so I kind of knew the general direction in which I wanted to do my presentation, but no, I did not know exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, thank you, Kalo. You brought up a good point. So every student, we meet with their expert in the field. So so the entire class is engaged with that expert in the field. So when we talked to the animal shelter in another class, everybody was engaged with that. Everybody listened, you know, in Kalo's class to Kalo's mom and could ask questions. So, and we've talked with people at Casella and at a project, oh, what's it called? The digester, what's that called? Casey, anaerobic.
Anaerobic digester, yeah, the biodigester. In
Right.
Salisbury at the Goodrich Farm.
Yes, yep, we talked with a pipe fitter who works on that project. I mean, we've talked to all kinds of different experts in the field. And like I said, not only does the one student benefit, but we all kind of, you know, we all get to engage with all these different experts in the field and share our information. So everybody's learning from each other's project as well.
I just put in the chat one thing, you know, when Deb was planning to offer this course and the high school administrators were willing to support it, we didn't entirely know COVID was going to happen. And then it did, and we knew. And so it's been interesting to see the comfort level of a pipe fitter or someone out in the field who can just jump from their phone onto a Google Meet or a Zoom call and feeling more comfortable doing that than had we not experienced this in this last spring. We may have had to try to figure out how to get them in the school or get kids on a bus and get them someplace. So we still hope in the future to have a little bit more interaction, but it's been to Deb's benefit and talent of connecting with folks and being able to make that happen, which we hadn't anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
thank you, Casey.
I have another question, and then Deborah, you can answer it, and then Dr. Khan, if you want to add anything about it. But you talk a lot about experiential learning. You talk about relevant experiential learning, community, about life. And so what about this project or the previous project exemplifies those things? Like if I go back to the big idea, like you're doing something real in school.
Right.
How do you take these examples and map it to that?
Right. So Kalo is connecting to a real business, real, you know, organic farming, and a real predicament they were in when COVID hit. And so he's actually engaging by doing the poster. He's engaging with people in that field because, you know, his mom is going or has linked or is going to link the poster to various websites. So that's really getting connected, real hands-on learning, engaging with real, you know, not just a textbook, but actually engaging with people outside of the school. The same with Cameron. Well, it had to do with the school district, but she was actually doing something. She was engaging with the community by, you know, going out and, you know, asking for all those donations, by collecting the donations, and then actually, you know, hands-on creating the gift, the bags that she created, to the care packages to give to the students. So it's going beyond the textbook. It's going beyond the classroom. It's really connecting with real life things that are happening, experiences, businesses, you know, that have to resort to a different way of selling their goods, etc. Would you agree, Kalo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a question for you, Kalo, from Kristen Whitman, who you may or may not know. She apparently might
Hi,
frequent.
Kalo. Sorry. I just was wondering, you said you had exposure to a couple of different community experts. Besides your mom, who was the most interesting to you?
Of like other people's projects or of my project?
Well, I guess I only thought you reached out to one community expert for yours. Did you have others?
Oh, for mine, I didn't do it through the school. I talked to other local farmers.
Oh,
did,
okay. And then of the other projects, which one was the most interesting to you?
I really like the aerobic digester. Is that what it's called?
Anaerobic, yeah, anaerobic.
Yeah, I
digester.
really like learning about that stuff because I don't know. It's really interesting that they could possibly do that, and I really enjoyed learning about that information.
Did you find that it connected? Could you ever see a connection between some of that and what you're interested in?
A little bit, but it's kind of two different types of farming.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
You know, I don't know if Dr. O'Connor wants to pipe in here, but I mean, a lot of kudos to her because sort of supporting these endeavors. But Dr. Khan, I want to see if you want to add anything before we sign off here about this is exemplifying and illustrating experiential learning.
Well, for me, what's so exciting about this is, these projects are amazing, but what they're taking with them are these transferable skills in the inquiry process, right? These folks are going to be lifelong learners, and every time they want to learn something new, generate knowledge and share it with others, this is a process and a template they can follow, irregardless if they have access to, this scaffolded process. They know how to do it intuitively and will move forward as they learn anything they may want or need. So that's what's really exciting for me to see in these projects.
Cool.
Thank you, Dr. Khan.
I will note one other thing, and then we can wrap up here and let you have the last word, Deborah or Casey. That the point that Kalo has, right? That each of these individual students, or it could be groups and pairs or trios or whatever, and how you design it. They're not only diving deep into what they're investigating, but they're learning a lot from their fellow classmates in their investigations too. And I don't think that's a small thing, right? As Kayla pointed out. Yeah. Deborah, you want to end it up in any way, or Casey? Final words.
I'd like to again just say thanks to Kalo. In thinking about how it is to share the story, as Professor Unger, you asked, I think one of the important things Deb and I talked about was the possibility of having student voices participate, seeing as they're high school age students. And so even on a snow day, during COVID, when we have a hybrid schedule, and it's always hard to kind of navigate where we are with that, just very much appreciate your efforts, Kalo, and it's extraordinary that you would take time off the ski mountain during a snow day to join and share what it is you've learned. And so I truly do thank you for that.
Kalo, I truly thank you too. Thank you so much, Kalo. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
And are you going to go back skiing or snowboarding?
Yeah, I plan to.
Okay, good. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much, Kalo.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kayla, very appreciative of that. Deborah, thank you so much for sharing the Padlet. That's not a small thing too. I think Padlet is an organizing mechanism, is something else that we learned today. And Casey, thank you for doing this. Dr. Khan, as usual, good words of statements and commentary there at the end. That the opportunity for kids to learn these transformative skill sets that they can take with them beyond school is not a small thing. So we should keep that in mind. So appreciate Slate Valley, all the work you're doing. Appreciate it. Everyone, thank you for coming. And I'll post a recording of this in the next week or two. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Kalo.
Thank you. Bye.